Hello, welcome or welcome back. I'm Amanda, and this is my Cozy Reading Corner. Today, we are going to do a book haul. Now, I've never done a book haul before because I've never bought a substantial amount of books to do really an interesting book haul video. I usually only buy like one book at a time, and that's not enough to do like a sit down book haul video. But today I went to the Rewind Book Fair event that was held at the Minnesota State Fairgrounds. It was a 2-day event. I only went on Sunday today when I'm filming this. It only cost me about $12 just to get in. That was the entry fee. And I would say it was worth it. You know, with the amount of stuff I got and the amount of vendors that were there, I think the $12 entry fee was so worth it. They also had food trucks outside, which was so nice. So let's get into it. I will start with the first thing I bought, which was this necklace. There was a fantasy author selling her fantasy book. I didn't think I would love it, and so I didn't pick up the book, but she was also selling jewelry. Let me see if I can find you her card though. Well, the first booth I bought something from was from this lovely author. But this author was doing fantasy. She calls the empire home. He pledges to bring its downfall. Looks like there's 3 books in her series, and it's Heroes of the Empire, Isra Azizi. But anyways, I didn't get the book because I didn't feel that it was really my speed. But that doesn't mean it won't be yours. Still go check her out. But she was selling necklaces. Okay, so it's 2 necklaces. So I have a dagger and a red heart. And you can slide it. Let me see if I can. I'm doing it by feel. There's a hole where you can slide it, and it looks like a dagger stabbing a heart. So that was the first thing I got. I love red. I love rubies. I believe that's my birthstone. And then it's gold, and I love the color gold. So that was the first thing I bought. The second thing was also a non-book item, but it was bookish. And it was a tote bag. I bought the tickets. Before this weekend, I went through the list of like vendors and booksellers, and I made a list of the things I wanted to get. And one of the things was a non-book item, so like jewelry or something. So got that off my list. And then I wanted a tote bag, like a cute tote bag. And I spotted this one. Reading smut, you betcha. It's not the biggest in the world. It held 3 books and a water bottle, which was it's a fairly big water bottle. But it's black, it's canvas. It even has some pockets on the back side. Yeah, it was really cute. It was fun to carry around. I didn't anticipate buying as many books as I did, so it only held 3 out of the 9 books that I bought. Your girl went crazy. So necklace, tote bag. Next, I might not have the order perfectly because my friend and we did laps, like several, and we went back and forth and we walked down and we're like, well, we haven't been down this one in a while. And so I don't remember the exact order. So I went to the book fair just to buy these 2 books because last year they had a similar book fair and this author was there, and I bought her first book, loved it, read it in a day, and I wanted to support her. And I learned that I guess buying the book off of Amazon, they don't get a lot of the profit. And I didn't want to get it on Kindle because I don't have Kindle, and her website was giving me some issues. And so I just waited until she was at this fair, and I got her second and third book in the series. So it's Evie James. This is book 2 in the series, Shadow in the Woods. It's a shifter romance set in Minnesota. And so the female main character, she is a plant. Is she a botanist? It has to do with plants. She's studying plants, and she lives in the woods of Minnesota, runs into these shifter wolves, realizes, I think she's mated or like fated to be with one of the alpha or whatever. But this is book 2 and this is book 3. So I'm super excited. I already read book 1, loved it. I am ready to finish out the series. I did her book bundle. And so, yeah. When you go to these fairs, like a book fair, a lot of the authors I noticed will do, especially if they have more than one book in a series, they'll do book bundles, which are, I don't know, they're pretty worth it. You know, if you know you're gonna want to continue the series, or if you're that type of person who likes just buying series all at once, that's really nice. And it's cheaper because I think per book was like $15 each. But if I got them together, it was only like $20. So I saved like $10. I got these from Evie James. They're it's part of a shifter romance series set in Minnesota. And I got some free stickers with it. So let me show you. It has a moon and books, and it says witchcraft something. So there's that. And then this one has a coffee with books. Probably reading smut. This one is a peach. This one's cute. This one's cheeky. And this is a spell book. So I got those stickers all with this, Evie James. So that was, I don't think that was the first book I bought, the first set of books I bought. I think this next one is actually the first book I bought. It's called A Devious Descent. There's 2 books in this series already. I don't know if I like this author. I don't know if I'm going to like the series, so I only bought the first one. I didn't get the second one. This is a really cool author name, A.A. Powers. That's so cool. And the experience, so what I loved about the fair is that you got to buy the books from the authors. And so I was chatting with the author and her husband was there and he was adorable. He was helping her. They were like working together and I don't know. It was just so sweet. And they're so nice. And you get them signed, which is so fun. I didn't think I'd be the type of person who cared if a book was signed by the author or not. It makes it feels so special. So this one is signed. It says, "Welcome to the devious world." And then it has her, looks like AAP with a heart. Oh, I didn't see this. Oh, I got a sticker. That must be the male and female main character. And then I got 2 bookmarks. Oh my gosh. Scream all you want, little one. There's no one around to hear you. Ooh. So it's demon related. I went to this booth because she had a really distinct sign above where she was standing that was like paranormal, shifter, dark romance. And I was like, that's me. Sign me up, baby. I'm ready. So, yeah. Paranormal, dark romance, shifter, demon. I'm excited. Oh, I think this one, hang on. This one was signed too. Both of them. So, okay. And then I think the third book I bought, which again, I might not be right, was Broken by Them. So this is by M.Z. Rylan. She was at the book fair last year, and last year my mom got to come with me, and this year it didn't work out, and so she was so bummed about it. And I was bummed that she couldn't go either, because this year was significantly, like, it was just so much more fun this year than it was last year. Last year it was fun, but it was crowded and it was hot and it was loud. It was extremely overstimulating. I thought I wasn't going to last more than an hour there today. I lasted 3.5 hours. And when the only reason my friend and I left is because my arm couldn't carry any more books. Literally, my arms were sore from all the books I was carrying. So, anyways, I think my mom would have loved it. I think it would be great for anyone just because it was so relaxing. But my mom got this author's book last year. So this is book 2. So I just picked up book 2 for her. It's a why choose dark romance mafia story. And so this is book 2. Ooh, it has some fun art. It's called Broken by Them. Again, this is book 2. Book 1 is called... I'll just read you the foreword. It says, "Welcome back to the 9. Broken by Them is book 2 in the Dominant Strategy series. This story continues directly after the event of Bound by Her and should be read in order to fully experience Adrian, Bryson, Caden, and Seth's journey. This series features unconventional romance and contains themes that are recommended for adult readers. Please check the author's website for content warnings before reading. Certain kinks portrayed in this novel are heavily nuanced and dangerous in real life. The story is not intended for educational purposes. Please do not use it in that way." Oh. Yeah. I haven't read it yet, but I told my mom that when I give her this, she has to give me the first one. So then I can read this one. But it has... I don't know how to describe it. Seems really interesting. The author was really nice to meet. Also still signed. So this was technically the 3rd, 4th, 5th? This is another book that I bought. And then I think the next one I bought was I did a double deal again. So I got this author's 2 books. I feel bad. I really only wanted the second book. That was the one that was more interesting to me. But she said it's a series, so you have to read book 1 to read book 2. So she kind of got me there, and I ended up buying book 1 and 2. So this is My Solemn Vow by Jaeger Rose, a hidden shifter mafia romance. And so book 1 is single dad. He's a part of the Irish mafia. She is the teacher of her of the kid, and she is Italian mafia, and they get arranged to be married. And there's the author said that there was some funny moments in there, but it's a mafia shifter, which is like my 2 favorite types of romance novels is shifter and mafia. So perfect for me. So this is book 1. Again, single dad. And this is book 2, which this is the one that I really wanted to read, and I can't remember what the things were. Without a Witness, the Mafia Arrangement, book 2. Again, it's a hidden shifter mafia romance. Let's read the back. A mafia princess trapped, waiting for an arranged marriage, a second-born son, and hacker fascinated by what he can't have. Attraction, obsession, fate. Oh, I remember now. He is a hacker, and there's another arranged marriage, and she is arranged to marry someone else, but he's in love with her, and so he's like, I'll just marry her first. As one does. These ones have sprayed edges. Look at how cool those are. And this is, I don't know if it's just a duet. She had other books there that she had several books that I wanted. I stood there and stared at them for a couple minutes. I was like, I don't know which series to get. So I think this one is just a duet. And then she has another 5-book series that she's in the process of writing and publishing. So I got the completed series, and then once I read and love these, I'll go hit her up for her other series. So, My Solemn Vow and Without a Witness by Jaeger Rose. Okay. And with these, I got a sticker. It says Agent of Chaos. And then I also got this. It has our other series on there. So the Airedale bloodline. So this series, I almost picked up, but she says it's not fully. I think she was still coming out with more. Highly recommend. She was so sweet to talk to. Picked those up. Okay. And then I picked up this bad boy. It's called Fated. I actually stood and talked to this author for a while. Again, everyone was so sweet and so nice. She actually told us that there's going to be another book fair in July. So, gonna go to that one too. This one's called Fated, a bonded legacy novel by Adeline Bryant. Hers, she gave me the cutest bag. Like, her logo is so cute. Look at that. Welcome to the pack. Cutest bag. Seems like it plays on the idea of, do you like free will versus choosing your fate kind of thing. So, fate versus free will. And I think there's even like a love triangle. It says here, Fated is the first book in the Bonded Legacy trilogy, a lush paranormal romance featuring intricate pact dynamics, searing intimate scenes, a fiercely passionate couple, explosive fated mate tension, and the fight between destiny and choice. Oh my gosh. Look at how cute that little thing is. It's whiskers and lipstick. It's cute. I picked it up because it had, when I read the back, Caleb, the young alpha of the first pact, blessed by the moon goddess. As soon as I read moon goddess, I was like, I'm in. I am so in. And then there was another sentence that sometimes I like to do that with books. Like if I'm a little uncertain, I'll open to a random page and I'll read a little bit. Here it says, "You're mine. You promised me a life. She has to share. She has... Many have a piece of your soul, and I am your heart. I am your Luna, your forever." I'm gonna love this. I'm so gonna love this. So after I picked up Fated, I looked in my bags and I realized I basically only had paranormal romance books for myself. The one dark romance one was really for my mom. And so I was like, I can't leave here without just a normal, like, non-paranormal romance book. So we started walking around and I found this, again, very sweet author. She had the coolest hair. It was like dyed gray and black. So cool. And so the last books I bought were Love in Pieces and Love Rewritten. She had another series that she was writing. No, the newest one that came out was Red. And that was between a rock star and a hockey player. And that didn't strike my fancy quite as much as these did. This one, both books are about the same couple. It's a continuation. This one is about Abby and Dallas. It's terrifying how fast one man can harden your heart, but it is amazing how fast another man can soften it, repair it, start putting the pieces back together. And so she's trying to get away from her abusive boyfriend. And then one night at a party, the male main character comes in and I guess saves her. And then he has his own problems as well. So sounds cool. It's contemporary. Obviously, it has some darker themes, but I'm really excited. This author is Jess Turner, Love in Pieces and Love Rewritten. And it also came with character art. Yeah, and then look, see, I told you she had cool hair. It says, "Hey, I'm Jess, a contemporary romance author, adding mental health awareness, love that, as well as other subject matters into my writing as a way to talk about these seemingly taboo topics is my bread and butter. When I'm not writing, you find me camping, riding my motorcycle, oh my god, and cuddling up with a good book. Jess Turner, tough topics and a little spice." Oh, she's so cool. Awesome. Okay. So these are all the books that I got. You can sense a theme. They're all very dark colors, and majority of them are paranormal. I also want to show you the freebies that I got. So there were some booths that we stopped at and I didn't really connect with the story or the books, but I still took like a flyer or something just for future reference. I my friend and I, every time we would like take a break, we would say to each other, "Oh, I just want to buy everything. I just want to buy everything." There was so many cool booths. There was one that was selling these really nice glass cups, and one had like a bookshelf with like a little book dragon, and it had really nice lid with a glass straw. And then there was another one that was selling clay jewelry. So homemade jewelry made out of like, I think air dry clay. And then there was another booth that I really wanted to get something from, but I just couldn't justify it. After this, like my budget, my wallet was screaming at me, like, slow down. Uh, just so you know, I budgeted for this. I knew that the book fair was coming back into town. And so I've been saving money and I spent with intention and I spent within my means. So do not feel that you have to go out and buy a crap ton of books every time you're buying books. This is going to last me a while. I was telling my friend, like, we'll load up on books now and then not buy any and then wait until the July book fair and then we can load up again on books. I don't know if that's the most, like, frugal way of buying books, but it was the most fun because you got to talk to the author. You gotta watch them sign it. There was actually a couple of authors that asked for my name. They're like, "Can I write your, like, personalize it?" I was like, "Yes, you can. Thank you." Like, and you got to get to know them a little bit. There was one author that, let me get you her thing. I didn't get her book because I'm not a big fan of young adult or even children's books, but she was still really interesting to talk to because she's a writer and I write. She is writing a 5-book series, and I asked her, like, did you go into this knowing it was going to be a 5-book series? And she's like, yes. Before I even wrote anything, published anything, I knew it was going to be a 5-book series. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Because for some reason, I always thought that authors, they would write one book and then they're like, oh, I could expand on this. And they write 2 books and then 3. And then next thing you know, they're like 6 books in and they're like, yeah, I should end it now. I didn't know that they go into it with the mindset of like, this is going to be a 6-book series. But the author that I talked to was K.J. Hansen. It says, "A girl on a mission, a boy with a secret, against a shadow sweeping across the land." And it's a coming of age fantasy adventure for kids 8 through 14. So there's that. And then the other free thing I got, this bookmark, which is really cool. I got this. And then here's the back. This author was, if I'm remembering correctly, they write, it's basically Hallmark, but with queer and trans main characters. And then the other one, so this is called Still Chosen, Another Unwanted Adventure. This one sounded really cool. I'm assuming her husband or whoever was with her had a paper notebook and wrote in it, "Hey, cool story, come check it out." And it was like literally he was very tall, so he was like holding it up. And we saw him and we made eye contact and we giggled, and then he like flipped it and it's like, "You should come check it out." I'm like, "Okay." And so we went over. I didn't get it, but my friend got it. Basically, so she saved the world when she was 16 and she's like the chosen one. And it's years later, she's in her 30s, and people she hasn't talked to in years show up and they're like, "Hey, you got to save the world again." And she's like, "Been there, done that, I'm over it. Like, not doing it again." They're like, "Well, you're the literal chosen one, so you have to." And so she has to navigate like the friends and like people that she hasn't talked to in years, like navigating that and relearning the skills that she previously had. And look at this beautiful art. She said she actually she worked with a oil paint artist, and so this is like an actual oil painting. They digitized it and used it as the book cover. And the author was like, "Yeah, this painting is hanging in our living room." I'm like, "That's so cute." That's not something you would learn at Barnes and Noble. That's not something you're gonna learn on Amazon. And she's an indie author, and so like, what are the odds of me learning about her through the algorithm? Slim to none. So I love these book fairs, especially for discovering new authors. I mean, where did it go? I love Evie James. It's a really good book series. Some other freebies. I got a free sticker. I spun a wheel, and I got a free sticker. And then there was a vendor there that was only selling stickers. And they're nice stickers. They're waterproof, and they were all they looked homemade. But I say that not in like it looked homemade. I say it in like it was handmade. Like it looks professional and it looks unique, and it was specific to Minnesota. And so there was a Vikings jersey sticker that said maybe next year, which is hilarious. And their business card is actually a sticker. So this tree comes off. I personally can't justify spending money on stickers, but if you can, 10 out of 10 would recommend hitting this person up. And then we stopped at a witchy, Wicca place. I wasn't in the market for any crystals or sage or anything today, but I did take her pamphlet. She is actually a hairstylist, but they also do spell work and cleansing and card reading, and I didn't know that she was an officiant. That's cool. This was a really cool booth to stop at. I wish I had more money. Don't we all? And I could have gotten one of her spell bundles. I think that would have been fun. So that was from the booth. There was another booth I stopped at. I don't know if I can show it. It's a little scandalous. It's called Milking with the Matador, which it was by Cassandra Medcalf. It says Milking with the Minotaur by Cassandra Medcalf. Can a human woman and a hunky minotaur meet the demands of a hungry demigod, or will they cow under the pressure? So that's kind of all the freebies I got. Obviously, there was a map. Huge, massive place for all of these vendors, and there's tons of people there. I mean, there's like 1,000 vendors that showed up, or 1,000. I mean, look at all that. Look at all that shopping. I think my favorite booth book to buy was Faded by Adeline Bryant. She didn't have anyone at her booth, and I had walked by it a couple times. I was there for 3.5 hours. Um, and I walked up to them, and they were so sweet, and they signed it, and they got me a bag, and they chatted with me, and I think they even, yeah, they have like a whole personalized handwritten paragraph in there. It says, "Welcome to the pack, Amanda. Faded to find and keep." I am so excited for this author. I wish her all the success in the world. So this is my haul, including my bag and my necklace. It was so fun. 10 out of 10 recommend. It was the best book buying experience because you got to meet the author, you could get it signed, you could meet new authors, new indie authors that you wouldn't have otherwise have met, just trying to like work with the algorithm, you know? And I think all of these are Minnesota based authors, and some of them are like queer authors, some of them are, African American authors, like Asian American, like really a huge diverse group of authors. Some books that I didn't get there is children books there. There's some nonfiction books. There was coaching. There was storytelling guidance, and so people helping you with your writing. So there was services there too that you could look at and maybe buy. So yeah, I would say this was a huge success. I've been in a bit of a reading slump. Nothing on my bookshelves have interested me. I've read like the first chapter of 4 different books in the last month, and I just can't get myself into reading something right now. But I think we fixed that. Only took 9 books. Oh my gosh. But I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you have a great day. Thank you for spending time with me. Like and subscribe. Love you. Have a good day.